What's up, guys? This is Mike with NerdFellas, and I'm here to give you my review of John Wick Chapter 2. Now, if you were into films in 2014, you saw John Wick. Granted, it was a sleeper hit, but it was a hit. This was an action-packed extravaganza starring Keanu Reeves as he plays John Wick, an assassin that comes out of retirement after his dog is killed and his 1969 Mach 1 Mustang is stolen from him. So I mean, I'd be very angry too if those two things were done to me, especially if that dog was a gift to me from my late wife. That gives you a lot of reason to want to go on a killing spree, especially with a big crime family known as the Tarasovs. Now, John Wick, the very first film, awesome, action-packed. How can you raise the bar? John Wick 2 did that. Now, John Wick Chapter 2 follows Keanu Reeves again. He is now trying to put everything he did in the first film behind him, wants to retire, live his quiet life peacefully, and he's pulled right back in. He can't get a break. So now he's facing a new guy, Santino, who comes to him and says that he needs a debt paid back to him owed by John Wick. So John Wick has to go deliver on this and then at the same time deal with a very large bounty on his head. That's basically the synopsis for John Wick 2. I'm going to get into spoilers right now because I am very excited about this film. So if you do not want to see anything about spoilers or details about this film, leave right now. You've been warned. Now, what was good about this film? If you're a big action fan, you like movies like The Raid or even anything that Keanu Reeves has done, like The Matrix, I mean, this is an all-out action-packed film, and what makes it unique, just like in the original film, is that it builds on this assassin culture, this whole underground lifestyle that is hidden in the shadows, all these different communities and organizations that work together to help these assassins, like banks, safety deposit locations, hotels, I mean, people that make suits, tactical armor. I mean, it definitely expands on the many places that John Wick actually uses to go ahead and carry out his tasks. Now, in this movie also, the action has definitely taken it to the next level. The action is even crazier. You're going to see a lot more headshots, you're going to see a lot more knife fighting, and a lot more blood. I mean, there were scenes where me and the people around me, including my wife, were kind of cringing like, oh, that was just, oh, dang. I kept looking. My wife was looking away a few times. And the running joke from the first film was that John Wick had killed people in a bar with a pencil. It's brought up again in the beginning of the film, which is kind of funny because they're like, yeah, we know the story. And then we get to finally see it in action when John Wick has a bounty on his head and all these assassins go after him. And he indeed uses a pencil again at a small little bar. And it's pretty intense the way he uses that pencil. You thought the Joker in The Dark Knight used the pencil the most unique ways. No. John Wick really knows how to use a pencil. So I mean, that pencil fight was probably one of the best scenes in the whole film, but definitely something that'll make you cringe. Now the dead dog and car thing definitely carries on as a joke as well. It's like if John Wick went that far to kill over a dozen men and kill a crime boss and his son over a dead dog and over his 1969 Mach 1 Mustang, then you can imagine what he's going through and feeling when his home is destroyed with all his memories of his wife. So yeah, he's going a little bit ballistic in this one. And the film does a good job of balancing the action, and it has an actual great story. It's not a separate story from the original, it's an extension, it's a new chapter. Because we get to see that the connection lies between him and what he did to accomplish his retirement in the first film. If he did not make a blood oath or deal with the main bad guy in Chapter 2, which is Santino, he couldn't have carried out the task that we hear about in the first film in order to live with his wife happily ever after, which of course doesn't happen. But that guy returns. We don't hear about him in the first film, but now we know about him. Santino was a guy that John Wick went to and asked for help to complete the impossible task we hear about so often. And now John Wick is saying no, he wants no part of it. And of course, Santino takes action and destroys his home. Of course, setting John Wick in motion to carry out the duty that he has to and seek revenge at the same time. So vengeance is definitely a key factor that fuels these films. So I mean, that's all great stuff. Another great thing is the reunion of Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu Reeves, because they haven't collaborated since the Matrix Revolutions. So it's been a very long time. Another reunion is with Common. They actually acted together in Street Kings in 2008. So it's kind of cool seeing these small little reunions, separate but in the same film. So seeing that, and also kind of like little nods, because the director of both the John Wick films was actually a stunt coordinator on the Matrix films. So it's interesting seeing that he's bringing them back and throwing in elements of the Matrix, like Lawrence Fishburne. He's known as the Bowery King, and he has a bunch of homeless people that work for him that are assassins, and it kind of brings you back and you start thinking about the Matrix and how they lived, you know, in dirty, raggedy clothing. So that was kind of cool. And Lawrence Fishburne also mentions having a choice, which was the running theme in the Matrix. So it was cool little nods like that that made the film even more fun to watch. The fight scenes between Keanu Reeves and Common, they were intense as well. I mean, even the subway fight itself, that was, the way it ends is an interesting take, and it makes you wonder, will Common be an enemy or a friend in the future? We don't know. Other little cool nods are like having the cop Jimmy return just to say that one line, "Oh, you're working again," and letting John walk away to do what he has to do. And Jimmy knowing, oh man, this guy's back at it again, is pretty dangerous. So that was kind of funny to see. So let's go ahead and get into the bad. Now, the film is an awesome film, so I'm going to get a little nitpicky on this, but I want to say that Santino, the main villain of the film, he's not very threatening, and it's similar to that of Vigo from the first film, because both of them have a lot of power. They're very powerful people, but they're not very dangerous themselves. What makes them dangerous is the company that they keep around them. So Santino, he is a very wealthy, very powerful man, so that's what makes him dangerous. But he is a bit of a coward. He doesn't even fight. And at least Vigo, you know, tried to hang and fight against Wick, but I mean, there's no luck there. So Santino, yes, he is dangerous because a debt is owed to him, and he has a huge network and a lot of money, enough to take out John Wick if he wants to, or if he can. So I guess that would be one thing. Another one would be Ruby Rose. She plays Ares, and she plays a deaf assassin who looks the part and is very sexy and looks very mysterious, very dangerous, but in the end it kind of collapses because she is watching John Wick and chasing John Wick throughout the whole film, and when they finally have the confrontation, it's a nice quick fight, but it's too short, and you would expect more from a character who was being not so much developed, but hinted at throughout the whole film. Another bad thing I want to say is that they might have used a little bit too much green screen. There's one scene in particular that I'm thinking of when John Wick and Cassian, played by Common, cross paths at a fountain, and you can definitely tell that when they do a close-up on their faces, they're just overwashed and outwashed by green screen and effects, and they're trying to make it look like they're in a certain place when they're not. And I think they should have just stuck to actual locations, either that or choose a different location. But I mean, the scene that builds up from there gets great, but I think they might have used a little bit too much of that. But other than that, I really did enjoy the film. So what do I think overall? What's the ugly? Awesome film. It's a film that you need to go check out this weekend. It leaves you kind of hanging at the end because they've opened it for a third film. John Wick at the end of the film is now going to be on the run. He has been outcast from Sanctuary, from the hotels. He has no more connections. All he has is his dog, and now there's a large bounty on his head. So almost every assassin in the world, internationally, they're all gonna go after John Wick. And I'm excited to see how he handles this, who are going to be his allies, who's not, and what more other threats lie ahead for him. So, I mean, it's going to go ballistic in John Wick Chapter 3 whenever that comes out, which I hope comes out very soon. And I hope we stick to the same team, same director, bring back some characters. Let's see more Lawrence Fishburne. Let's see more John Leguizamo. I want to see all these characters, and I want them to build on the community that they've started to build, because seeing everything in motion and even learning about the mark, which was a blood oath that can be made between different parties. I mean, that was a nice little touch as well, so I want to see what else they can develop. So I'm excited. Great action-packed film. I really enjoyed it. I think you're going to love it. If you love John Wick, you're going to love John Wick Part 2. I don't know how you'll feel about the ending. The ending had me kind of feeling like, well, I need a better resolution, but it's a cliffhanger, and it's something to look forward to for John Wick 3. A lot of great fights. Definitely more gruesome than the first one, but it was definitely worth it. It's an R-rated film. Don't take your kids. I saw a lot of kids there. I mean, if they like violence and you like showing them violence, go ahead. If they saw Deadpool, it's too late now. Sorry. If they saw Sausage Party, it's too late. So just take them. There you have it, guys. Out of 5, I'm going to give it 4 bullets. Great action-packed film. This is in the category of action. So yeah, John Wick is up there by far as one of the best action films, both 1 and Chapter 2. So this weekend, go check out John Wick Chapter 2. There's a bunch of other movies coming out, including Lego Batman, which will also get a review to you through Martin. He's actually going to be seeing it as well. Other than that, make sure that you subscribe, like, follow NerdFellas. We're everywhere. We're on YouTube. We have a website, www.nerdfellas.com. You can see everything right there that we have. We have merchandise, we have videos, we have vlogs. Go check it out. Other than that, I'm Mike Wante with NerdFellas. Nerd out.